They said she killed hundreds. They said she bathed in blood. They sealed her inside her own castle and left her there to die. This is the story of Elizabeth Bathory, from power to accusation to silence. History's most infamous female serial killer was a countess. Elizabeth Bathory was accused of killing hundreds of young girls in 17th century Hungary. But the legend that made her famous is even darker. Some claim the countess believed blood could preserve youth, that she bathed in it after the deaths of her victims. The story spread across Europe. A noble woman obsessed with eternal beauty, a castle filled with secrets. But here's the strange part. That famous bloodbath story didn't appear until decades after she died. So historians still argue today, was Elizabeth Bathory a monster? Or did the legend grow larger than the truth? A Hungarian countess was accused of murdering more than 600 girls. The woman at the center of the accusation was Elizabeth Bathory. According to testimony collected during the investigation, servant girls kept disappearing from her castle. One witness claimed a list existed, a record of victims. The number written inside it shocked the royal court: 600. If true, it would make Elizabeth Bathory one of the most prolific killers in history. But here's the problem. No one has ever found that list. So historians still argue, was the number real or part of a legend that kept growing? The rumors all pointed to one place, a remote fortress in what is now Slovakia, Čachtice Castle. It was the home of Elizabeth Bathory. Servant girls arrived there for work, but some families claimed their daughters never returned. Villagers began whispering about screams in the night, disappearances, punishments that went far beyond discipline. For years, the story spread quietly across the countryside until they finally reached the royal court. And when the king heard the rumors, he ordered an investigation. In 1610, the rumors finally reached the king, so he sent a powerful nobleman to investigate. His name was György Thurzó. When Thurzó arrived at the castle of Elizabeth Bathory, he did not come alone. He brought soldiers. According to later accounts, what they found inside shocked even hardened investigators. Servants were arrested, witnesses were questioned, stories of cruelty began pouring out. But the most powerful suspect of all would never stand in a courtroom. A woman accused of hundreds of murders was never put on trial. After the investigation, Elizabeth Bathory was not executed. She wasn't even brought to court. Instead, she was imprisoned inside her own castle. According to records, her rooms were sealed. Servants delivered food through a small opening in the wall. Meanwhile, several of her servants were tried and executed. But the countess herself never faced a public hearing. Some historians believe the reason was simple. Trying one of the richest nobles in the kingdom could have created a political disaster. History remembers her as the Blood Countess. Elizabeth Bathory was accused of murdering hundreds of girls in 17th century Hungary. Her servants were executed. Her castle became a symbol of horror. And for centuries, she was described as one of history's worst killers. But some historians see a different story. Bathory was one of the richest nobles in the kingdom. The king owed her family a large debt. After her arrest, her lands were divided among powerful families, and she was imprisoned without ever standing in court. So the question still divides historians today. Was Elizabeth Bathory a monster or the victim of one of history's most successful political conspiracies? After the investigation, Elizabeth Bathory was not executed. She was taken back to her castle and sealed inside. Her world became a single room, windows restricted, doors guarded. Food passed through a small opening in the wall. Days turned into months, months into years. No court, no public defense, no escape. Once one of the most powerful women in Hungary, she spent her final years alone. In 1614, she died inside those walls. Not in battle, not on trial, but in silence.